5 Short Road with my 3 children, Beth, Mark, and Robin. And with my wife's help, Ronnie, we started and perhaps worked on the largest project of the 250th celebration. My co-chairwoman for the project was Kathy Walters. She lived on Fair Lane Way and has 2 children, and her husband Jim, who was very active in the militiamen, worked very hard. They're now living in Texas, and I'm sorry she can't be here with us to narrate this. We estimated the crowd at about 50,000 people. This was mainly due to the great publicity job of Marsha Aikman, who sent news releases out to churches and town newspapers for about 50-mile radius. I can't tell you how much fun it was doing the parade. We had such great participation from all the organizations in town and all my chairmen, who I hope to mention as we go through the parade. The day was warm, to say the least. It was perhaps 97, the hottest day of the summer. I promised everybody on the 250th committee a nice day. After the weather we had, I don't know if they agreed. This is the center of town. Holliston was decked out in perhaps the finest I've ever seen it. The highway department had painted all the roads and the posts along the roads red, white, and blue. The water department had painted all the hydrants. And everybody in the town had worked so hard to get their houses and their front yards to look beautiful. Here's the starting of the parade, led by the official marshals of the parade. It was Wally Watts and
Wallace Watts.
And Charlie Hopkins guy.
And Louis Meader was with
Forrest
Wallace
Watts.
Watts and
These-
Ernest Armstead.
yeah, these were 4 men who bowled together for many, many years, and we just couldn't pick out one who should be the official chairman, so we used them all. And they all ranged about 84 years old. It was really nice to see them out there. This is the Holliston High School Panther Band under the direction of Mr. Easer. We had groups from all over. And this is the ecumenical float, and it was beautiful. They had built it with the combined efforts of all the churches in town. This, I think, is the Mansfield Band. And when you see some of these bands coming, they've won competition in Massachusetts for the last 20 years, and they pulled up in a bus. They opened up the sides, and they had all their uniforms lined up. Phenomenal. This is a horse and buggy. Ethelyn Jordan was in charge of the horses in the parade, and we had competition for individual riders and groups and horse and buggy.
Here's our middle school band. First time wearing their new uniforms. How proud they were on such a hot day. Didn't make any difference to them. They'd worked hard to buy these uniforms. Here's Tommy Norris, one of the band members.
The band was under the direction of Jerry Kazanjian.
It would be great to look back on these pictures in years to come.
How many visiting bands did we have, Norm?
I think we had 26 bands, and about 18 floats and about 30 or 40 antique cars. The one that I'd like to mention that isn't in, it is a newcomer's float, but the one band that just didn't get in the picture was the Marine Corps Drum and Bugle Corps that came from Virginia, and this may be just, I know this is the Army band, but they came all the way up and they put on a show for us the night before, and it was a thrill to see them. Sleeping Girl Scouts. More of our firemen, huh? The Walpole Fire Department. They had a parade just a few weeks earlier, and they were able to keep their float together and bring it over for our parade. Here's the Holliston militiamen. The Holliston militia by far is one of the finest groups around. Unlike many of the other groups, they dress in natural costume versus a uniform, because the men of their time did not wear uniforms. They each one had their own, and we can be very proud of them. There were about 15 or 16 militiamen companies that we had for the parade. The parade was about 2.5 miles long, ran from the intersection of Highland and Washington, down Washington to Woodland, back to the middle school complex.
How long did it last?
Just about 3 hours. This is more of the militiamen. They came in all different shapes and sizes and different companies representing different towns.
Oh, very colorful.
I'd like to mention that Bruce McKinnon and Gary Boris were in charge of the police protection for the day. They had 250 auxiliary policemen that came from all over the state, and did an outstanding job. One of the things that we were concerned about when we ran the parade, and looking at pictures of other parades, that when the parade was done, the town always was left in a mess. And we were determined when we started this that the town would look as nice as it did when it started. And thanks to Nancy Norris and Emil Tero, if somebody drove through the town the next day, they would have never known there was a parade. Everything was cleaned up, the streets were beautiful, and I can't thank them enough. We had an extensive communication set up too, where that really came in handy on this hot day, because we did have some problems with people passing out and have to go to the hospital. And John Pratt had set up a complete communication so that Kathy and I, who were standing up there, could keep in contact with all the different areas of the parade. This is the square dances float, and all these were done. Put a great deal of effort into all the floats. In charge of the floats was Penny Averill, and they were in charge of floats and antique cars. We ran seminars at the beginning to help organizations in town build floats, and it really paid off. As you see them go by, there were many beautiful floats. We'd also hoped that it would be a party for the town, and it seemed like all the groups, people who knew each other, gathered on street corners all over town and brought out their barbecues and liquid refreshments. There's an antique Mack truck, I guess. A few of those. The Historical Society participated too. They ran a chicken barbecue afterwards, and I like, if I could remember all the organizations that participate. A few of them were the Sportsman Club that helped us with the policemen, and the Lions Club that helped us be marshals along the parade route and keep us in contact. Almost every organization in town, the cooperation was just beyond belief.
That's true, Norm, along with our local selectmen for that year being Harold Noble, Henry Delaker, and Judge Christopher. And not to forget Chief Holbrook, too, who assisted us.
The chief was really super. He assisted us. We had an area for the elderly people, and he assisted us in. There's a picture of our lovely Centennial Bells that really made the whole celebration what it was throughout the year. This is the Holliston Brothers of the Brush float that was, there's a picture of them. And that was the fruits of their efforts. This was the razor that they had hidden. The story goes that they have to hide it, and other brothers of the brush come and try to steal it. I guess they were pretty successful. Nobody got theirs. Did somebody get it? Yeah.
I believe it was Walpole.
Walpole. Got it.
And there's the Walpole Queen.
This is another chapter of the Brothers of the Brush organization from Walpole called the Anvils. Leon Allen and his little fire engine.
Drove me crazy at the beginning of the parade, scaring all the horses. This is another beautiful float.
That's a replica of an old mill with a water wheel which actually works.
Clydesdales. These little girls were so warm. They participated. These girls are from Natick. Some of the other chairmen were Frank and Dorothy Reese were chairman, this is the prize-winning float, We Believe in Holliston. It was done by the Holliston JCs and JCettes. And it's quite beautiful. We're very proud of that. Sam Dustus from Holliston. Yeah, Holliston 4-H. Some of the heat got to the old trucks too, and they got underneath there and do some work on it. To Cristoforo. It's a Diamond M float. Oh, the pub?
The village pub
Village
float.
pub float. Alrighty. And they had live band on there.
And refreshments.
And refreshments. A Thai go-go dancer if she ever appears, maybe later on. This is the 4-H Boy Scouts. Next to 4-H. The horses behind them. Oh, take a good look at this horse. This is one of the funniest stories. This horse is a big plastic replica of a horse and was a Holliston Horse and Buggies Club. The story goes that the man was sitting on the side watching the parade, and all of a sudden he jumped up and he says, "That's my horse, that's my horse," and he goes running off down the street after it. It turns out that horse was stolen from on top of his shop about 5 years before that, and he had never seen it before, and all of a sudden he's sitting in front of our parade, and he chased it all the way to the end of the parade, and he finally got it back.
There's Bushelanis at the piano.
Oh, yeah. This is the building of a float. This was the pub float that they put together. And this is the Mudville. Mudville block party. This is the one with I go dancer, right? Alrighty. Later on you'll see some of the pictures taken. You can tell that the photographers enjoyed taking pictures of young ladies like they do at football games and all the other events you see. There we go. Everybody was, here's the Oddfellows birthday cake for Holliston. Everybody worked so hard, it was very rewarding.
Youth hockey organization here in town. That's their float.
Boy, it was tough to be in those uniforms that day.
Miss Frank and Dorothy Reese. That's like Mrs. Grace Hoey.
There were marshals set up for each division. And there was Flossie Holmes was one of our marshals, a long-time resident of Holliston. This was the Holliston Junior College now. Curtain timers. about 1,000, over 1,000 people who marched in the parade. And Al Rowe and his committee were the ones who had the dubious job of lining them up at the high school. And it was a tough job.
That's the Holliston Manor Nursing Home float.
They were the first ones to call, the first ones to enter, and had one of the most beautiful floats. They were right on top of everything. They sent in their forms and really, really worked hard on that. Let's see what we're coming up. Oh yes, this is the only family float. Burke family float, and this is one family that decided that they were going to have a large family, and they were going to put all their children on a float and march it down. Be very proud of it. It was really beautiful. See a whole family together. It's a nice way to celebrate Holliston's birthday. Came from all over the state, some from New York, drum and bugle corps from all the surrounding areas.
The Republican Town Committee float, and here are the famous Budweiser Clydesdale team.
That was the most exciting moment of my life, I think, at the time when I saw them coming around the corner. First of all, I knew it was the end of the parade, and it was just a thrilling sight. Here comes our committee, 250th committee. And
It's Melvin Washer on top there.
Big W supplied the fire engines for us, the antique fire engines. There's Kathy's two little girls. There's Frank and Mary and
Nancy Muther and Pat Poitras.